The multiverse is vast, and after a series of events from multiple invasions and various friends dying, Earth 2 would appear to be doomed. Earth 2 is not the world that you are used to in the DC universe, but it does exist with different versions of your favorite heroes. And we are now at World's End, as Apokolips, led by Darkseid, is in a full invasion. While they were stopped multiple times, they have just started terraforming the planet, and there isn't any way to stop it that our heroes can see. There is only one chance for survival left, and that is to get off the planet. A link to the full playlist is down below if you want to start this journey from its start. Val-Zod, Kara, and Lois Lane are now hovering over Earth looking at Apokolips' terraforming satellites, and they realize that they may not be able to stop this. But that's not enough to keep them from fighting against it, and they get back into action. Meanwhile, Huntress and Thomas Wayne Batman have tracked down Oliver Queen at the request of the World Army. When Bruce Wayne died, he sent off a failsafe with Oliver Queen, and then Oliver went missing when the invasions began. Now Thomas and Helena have found him, and he is in shock to discover that Hel survived. And since he knew her, he decided to take a seat and explain what's going on. Bruce's last failsafe wasn't a way to stop the invasion. It was a way to start over. He created a codex that contained the DNA coding of every living being on the planet, a way to start the planet from scratch. Bruce Wayne was the ultimate doomsday prepper. Over at Adam's Haven, the last bastion of human civilization, Major Sato gets an odd report. All of their escape ships are launching into the air and leaving without her approval. She calls up the Wonders, Flash, and Hawkgirl, and she tells them to get back, because if these ships leave, everyone here will die because they can't get off the planet. Then one of her soldiers turns to her and states, "Do not take back the ships that I commandeered. I intend to use them for their purpose and evacuate the planet." Sato knows this isn't one of her soldiers, and she asks who is controlling them. Brainwave. "I am the savior of the Earth." Brainwave is actually beneath Adam's Haven and is currently mind-controlling hundreds of people. Dick Grayson and Ted Grant snuck into his area because they were looking for Grayson's son Johnny. But as they find the location that they are all in and they find Johnny, Brainwave begins to get into Ted Grant and Grayson's heads. Brainwave then stands over the masses, welcoming them to his flock, as he will save them all. Meanwhile, up in space, the USS Endurance is floating there. This is a multiversal escape ship built by the villain Terry Sloan. Mr. Terrific, Mr. Miracle, Fury, and Sandman all blasted into space, not knowing that Terry Sloan was actually up here, and they want to use the Endurance to save all of the citizens of Earth. It can hold 100,000 people, so maybe it's not everyone, but they can save a good chunk. Mr. Miracle tells Sloan to start the engines on the Endurance. They're going to leave once Major Sato gets the survivors up to the ship. So Sloan turns on the ship, and he aims it at the planet of Apokolips. Mr. Terrific yells at him to stop this. This ship can save at least 100,000 survivors. They can't sacrifice it. And Sloan smirks. "I already did something. This was all a part of my plan." And the USS Endurance blows up as it collides with Apokolips. Meanwhile, the Green Lantern now has the power of every avatar, as all of the avatars have given him their power, allowing him to have ultimate power. He rises into the sky and he puts up the ultimate shield, and he hopes they can keep the terraforming back. He tries to shield the entire planet, but he can feel it. The strain the Earth is going through is breaking it apart. It won't survive this. Down on the surface, Barda and Kalibek are tearing through the human race one by one, leading the charge of Darkseid's troops, when out of nowhere a blast of power hits the ground in front of them. Barda looks up to see Jimmy Olsen, the same Jimmy Olsen that used to be a tech wizard but is now merged with the power of the Mother Box. He removes Barda's war armor instantly, and then he is suddenly struck down by Kalibek. Kalibek headbutts Jimmy so hard that he spills his new blood, the blood of a new god, and that's when Kalibek realizes Jimmy has been changed, and Kalibek just defeated a god. Back in space, everyone watches as more portals begin to open, and out comes more Endurance ships. Sloan explains that while an Endurance escape ship was destroyed, it wasn't their escape ship. The one that was destroyed was empty, and the Terry Sloans of the multiverse built more Endurances as an escape plan for whatever planet Darkseid decided to attack. Over with Thomas Wayne, Helena, and Oliver Queen, they return to the World Army headquarters when they get the call from Major Sato that this Brainwave is trying to hijack their ships. As Brainwave continues with his monologue as to what his plans are, a batarang hits him in the head, and Batman jumps in telling him to shut up forever as he buries Brainwave's head into the ground. Grayson and Ted Grant both see the cavalry arriving, and Grayson grabs the batarang off the ground. this is cool. All of the people are now free of Brainwave's mind control, and they begin to run to the ship that is now parked in front of them. And Grayson begins to panic again. Where's Johnny? Where's his son? Over with the Green Lantern, he slams into the surface of the Earth hard. His shield has failed and he couldn't maintain his power. The planet is dying, and right next to him, in another explosion, is Kara, Val-Zod, and Lois Lane landing next to him. He turns to them. He can slow down Apokolips, but he can't stop it. And Val tells him a lot can happen in a few minutes. Meanwhile, with Kalibek and Barda begins demanding that Kalibek finish off Jimmy Olsen, but Kalibek is done being treated like a child by Barda. She couldn't even beat this boy. And if Kalibek can beat a god, what is she without her armor? She is nothing. So he jumps in to take his fight to her. While they fight it out, Jimmy gets back up and he creates a boom tube to carry all of the survivors back to Adam's Haven. Barda, seeing her only chance for survival, makes a break for the boom tube, jumping through it just as it closes up, with Kalibek calling out to her, "Coward!" She quickly grabs a disguise and she slips in among the other survivors, where she eventually finds Kali, the Fury of War, who managed to survive and is also hiding amongst these survivors. Up in space, Val-Zod, Kara, and Lois distract all of Apokolips's forces while the Green Lantern charges one final push, one final amount of power. He blows a hole into the terraformer, allowing sunlight to pour in and power up the Kryptonians. Val-Zod flies like a comet into Darkseid's planet, landing right in Darkseid's throne room. Earth still has some fight left in it, monster. Meanwhile, Grayson and Ted have found Johnny. With his journey to find his son complete, he walks over to the escape ships. The guards tell him no. They are only loading up women and children now. Grayson tries to argue, "You said that there was room for everyone," and they told him that they hoped that there would be, but this isn't anything that we could have planned for, and they're trying to evacuate an entire planet. Realizing that there is no hope in getting on with his son, he looks for two women to take his boy with them. They agree to watch over Johnny for him, and that's when we see that he just gave his son to Barda and Kali. Grayson kisses Johnny goodbye as they load up onto the ship, and then the escape ships begin to lift off, with Sato turning on the artillery to protect them. They have to escape the planet. Back on the Court of Apokolips, Val-Zod and Kara are beating on Darkseid, but this is Darkseid, and he throws Val aside while smacking Kara down. She informs Darkseid that if he's looking for the Superman of Earth, it is her, and she uppercuts him. While on the outside of the planets, the escape ships are in a battle for their lives as the forces of Apokolips are trying to stop them. They are blowing up in the sky. They are destroying their landing gear. They aren't going to make it to the Endurance. Kara continues beating on Darkseid, but he hits her with his Omega beams, and then he throws Val-Zod down to Earth. Luckily, as Val-Zod is falling, he wakes back up and sees one of the ships crashing, so he grabs it and makes sure that it lands safely before flying up into the battle. Darkseid is still all powerful though, as he throws Kara down to the surface of Earth, and then as they land, he stomps on Val-Zod. But this was enough time for our heroes to gather where Darkseid has landed, and all of our remaining Wonders arrive to battle Darkseid. While they keep pushing him back, the Green Lantern is with everyone, trying to get more ships to warp in, and he's tapping into the multiverse as they unlock the doors to the multiverse. More and more doors open up, and more Endurance ships appear, each built by another version of Terry Sloan. He prepared for this in every universe, not knowing which universe Darkseid would attack. There is only one Darkseid. He can only attack one world. This means that all of these Endurances are empty, and they're ready to save the day. They can possibly save everyone on the planet. But another effect is happening. With the doors of the multiverse opening up all over the place, the Green Lantern can feel the power of green from every Earth. Overflowing with power, he joins the rest of the Wonders in the battle against Darkseid. But Darkseid is still too much as he throws the Green Lantern aside. So, Alan Scott tries a new plan. He heals all of his friends, bringing them all back into the fight. But this time they know that they can't stop Darkseid in a head-on fight. So the plan is to save as many survivors from the ships that crash landed after they were under attack in the escape. They need to get those survivors to the Endurance spaceships. Darkseid isn't too concerned with the Wonders though. He has won, and he continues to wreck the planet Earth with his troops now that he's down here. The Green Lantern still isn't gone though, and as the spirit of Sam, his lover, the Avatar of White, appears before him, he explains that it is time for Alan to give in. He has ultimate power, but he isn't using it because he's still clinging to his old self. He needs to give himself up to the power of Earth. He needs to lose himself in it. So Alan asks Sam, will he remember him if he does this? Sam tells him no, he won't remain. Alan doesn't want to, but he knows he has to. He can protect everyone, he can save everyone, and he gives himself up to the power of the Earth. Meanwhile, down in Adam's Haven, Darkseid himself kicks in the doors and he arrives. It's time for everyone to die. When out of nowhere, the Green Lantern hits him with everything. Darkseid tries to blast him back, but the Green Lantern can hold a shield up to protect himself. The Green fights for every living being on this planet, and then, with the power of every planet he is using, he cracks Darkseid over the face. He then takes a seat in the ground while everyone holds back the forces of Apokolips. One last shot to save this planet. Using all of his power, he begins to lift up every survivor off the ground, and he protects them as he pulls them off the planet and he sends them into space to the spaceships. With Darkseid trying everything to stop them and the survivors of Earth gone, the Green Lantern, Grayson, Yolanda the Red Avatar, the Flash, Batman, and Val Zod are left on the planet, and his Darkseid hits them with everything. He hits them with a very angry Omega Beam blast. He seemingly kills them all. He kills all of our wonders that were on the planet. The Earth is lost, but they saved who they could. And as the Terraformer finally completes its formation around the planet, the USS Endurances all blast off into space to find a new planet, if there is one. Kara, Helena, Lois, and Oliver Queen all sadly remember how many of their friends they just lost in that battle. And we have reached the end of Earth 2 World's End. This is actually the end of the story, guys. They died. They lost the planet. Darkseid won. We've got 2 more videos to tell you about the Earth 2 storyline, one of which is what happened to John Constantine, because it is a spin-off story and I do want to tell it to you. And I want to tell you what happened next, because there is one final story to this, and it's not what you're expecting. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Comicstorian. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Comicstorian. And don't forget, check out this whole story. I think it's a total of like 12 videos. I'll see you next time right here.